Hi everyone, it's another day, another podcast here at the Zipporra Studios. I hope everyone is doing absolutely well today. It's been a week, and as promised, I am back with another podcast episode here at the studio. It's going to be a weekly thing, like what I told you the last time in our previous episode, our premiere episode actually. And yeah, I am back with another Am I the Asshole commentary, reaction, sharing of opinion podcast. And before we dive into the four Am I the Asshole posts that we are going to be reading in Reddit today, I just want to say to everyone who will be reached by this podcast that I hope you are all doing well. I know in the past week, not just even a week, we have been seeing in the news that there have been wildfire, several disasters, not only here in Canada. I know, like, over the course of 4 months, we've had like several wildfires where I am. Actually, I have been evacuated personally. And over the course of 4 months, we've experienced wildfires, tornadoes, flooding, and then now the biggest one in the news would be Maui with the wildfires. So I hope with anyone who is experiencing this, I hope that you stay strong and know that I know it's kind of cliche to say this, but there's always light at the end of the tunnel. As personally speaking, as somebody who has been an evacuee for twice actually for the wildfires here in Canada, as long as you come together as one with your community, you draw strength from one another, and that is really important. So I hope that if you are listening to this or watching this, I hope you're staying safe and taking care of yourselves mentally, physically, in every aspect of yourself. I know it's these are tough times, but we will all get through this for sure. And so anyways, yeah, it's going to be another Am I the Asshole post for Reddit today, for this podcast today. So without further ado, let us dive in on the first Am I the Asshole post that we are going to be commenting on. So first off is, it says here, Am I the asshole for declining my cousin's wedding invite? I, 27 female, have a cousin, 27 female, that is getting married soon. Last year, she finally got engaged after 10 years of dating. My sister, 30-year-old female, and I were invited to go with my cousin to pick out wedding dresses. She said it was important that we were there. It was also the weekend of her bachelorette. My sister and I live in a different state, so we booked tickets and had a great time. While talking about the wedding, we asked my cousin for the date as we wanted to get plane tickets early. She gave us the date and said, "See you soon." Months later, my aunt, 55 female, told my dad, 61 male, like their brothers, I mean their siblings, that my family and I were not invited to the wedding as they had run out of capacity for the venue. Like, what? Say what? I had come to visit my parents that morning as we go on weekend hikes. I heard the whole thing. My dad and mom were pretty upset. I can imagine. They had booked tickets and were told prior that they should be expecting an invite. We were very disappointed, but we originally understood that it was going to be a small wedding, and maybe it was smaller than we realized. My mom, though, had been through wedding drama so she asked, "How much is capacity?" My aunt said, "Oh, they are having 130 people." We were in shock. That's when my dad asked, "Why wouldn't be in the top 130?" My aunt, ever the honest one, said my cousin doesn't really know us. Like, we didn't just go out pick out wedding dresses and help pay for a bachelorette. My family has gone back and forth from their home since we were kids, which was never reciprocated. We've sent birthday gifts to her, etc. My dad ended the call with a simple, "Congratulations." I could see how hurt he was. My dad puts a lot of effort into keeping his family together as he is the oldest child. Both parents are gone, and he moved away when he and my mom got married. I could tell that this was a slap in the face. His family doesn't reciprocate. As a comparison, they were even invited to my older sister's wedding too. They didn't come. Fast forward, my parents refused to answer my aunt's calls. My aunt calls me instead. She says she has convinced my cousin to allow us at the wedding. I told her, thanks but no thanks. We won't be coming to the wedding. My aunt told me I was an ass. She worked hard to get us into the wedding. She tattle told my parents what I had said, but my parents assured me that they would have declined the invite too, as they believe it would be awkward to attend now. Days later, another call. It was my cousin telling me that my aunt was crying. She said I should apologize and be grateful that I was now invited. She had to disinvite others. I snapped saying that it was her fault for not inviting us and putting our families in this situation. My parents have gone no contact with my aunt for now. I've thought about apologizing, but I also want them to feel bad too. Am I the asshole for declining the wedding invite? I don't think there's any question if you are the asshole or not, because seriously and truthfully, you are not. The asshole in this situation will definitely be your cousin, the mom, and whoever said so that you should not be invited. First off, your family. Like I was like reading again, like they're siblings. So why won't you be invited? And the excuse of doesn't really know us, but you went with this bride to pick out wedding dresses for her, and that you also went to her bachelorette, and you're also saying that you also went to their house before when you were kids. So really, your cousin doesn't really know you, but still you're like immediate family. Even if she doesn't really know you that well, you're immediate family. So I feel like, I don't know, maybe this is just me and my upbringing, that even if you're not really close to that part of the family, but they are your immediate family, it's kind of like understandable, and automatically they will be invited right away. I mean, I'm not married, but still, even those family members that I'm not really close to, or that I really haven't spent a lot of time with, I will invite them. They're immediate family. Um, Also, it feels like the aunt and your the aunt, the aunt and your cousin were like. I feel like they have this belief that they are so important, because on this part that it says here that she worked hard to get us into the wedding, and that they had to disinvite others, that you should be grateful that you are now invited. Like, okay, this is not even a royal family. um like, is your cousin a part of the royal family for you to be so grateful, and that it is actually a privilege to be part of the wedding? I mean, I don't think she is a princess, or is she marrying a prince or something, that it is such a big deal that you have finally been invited to the wedding, because that's what she's making it out so. And truthfully, it really shouldn't be. It's just like common sense that they would invite immediate family, and not make you feel like that is such a privilege to be invited to her wedding. So yeah, you are not the asshole, and it's just but right that you snapped on your cousin and telling her that it was her fault not inviting you in the first place, and definitely putting the family in this situation. Like, seriously, like, if you end up not speaking to this part of your family for a long time, I don't think it is your loss, because really, they really do not care enough anyway. And yeah, like, on you know what, I think on the day of her wedding you should just act you should actually just go on like holidays with your parents. That would be nice. Like go to like a really nice have like a really nice getaway, post it on social media, and then just like it's like a slap in their faces that, okay, dude, we can actually have fun without going to that small wedding of yours. Like, it's not that important. It's just that obviously it's just painful on your end that you were not invited at the first place because you would think it's immediate family, right? But, anyways, I'll stop my rambling and I'll go ahead and scroll down and see what others have to say. Not the asshole. She said I should apologize. There is nothing to apologize for. You have done nothing wrong. Exactly. What did you do wrong? The only thing that you have done wrong is to actually think that this type of people will even consider family first. That's the only mistake. But really, it's not really a mistake. And be grateful that I was now invited. It is possible for a person to be many types of pleased that they got an invitation, but grateful is a very peculiar word to use no matter what the circumstances. Your cousin is not a queen. See, I even said princess. This one is like saying your cousin is not a queen. Bestowing favors on her loyal subjects. Like, that's what your cousin is making it out. So it's kind of crazy that that's how she worded it. Like that you should be grateful. Gratitude isn't necessary. She had to disinvite others. I'm not buying that, not for a single moment. I can understand the potential guest being disinvited because they offended the bride or groom in some egregious, unforgivable way in between the sending of the invitations and the wedding. That aside, you don't disinvite a person after they've already been invited. That is a big no no. That's a big no no. That's so rude. That's downright rude. It would be a huge breach of etiquette and a slap in the face to them. Your cousin didn't disinvite anyone. Your cousin either squeezed in a couple of extra places or she substituted you for someone who said, "Sorry, I can't attend." It's an attempt to make you feel guilty for declining. Stand your ground. Um, let's see what else. Not the asshole. Your cousin set you and your sister up to believe that you would be attending the wedding. In what world is it normal to be close enough to be invited, wedding dress shopping, but not close enough to attend? Exactly. Like you went wedding dress shopping with this female, but now she's saying that you're not close enough to attend the wedding? Like, why did she invite you to go wedding shopping with her then? If you're not close to her or she doesn't consider you like somebody who's close to her. Anyways, going back, not close enough to attend a 130 guest wedding, then chose not to invite you. They then had to be convinced to invite you. I wouldn't want to be part of that mess either. You are not the asshole. If you put in the effort to go wedding dress shopping, but also make yourself available for the wedding whenever she chooses a date. You're not the asshole for saying you're not coming. For 130 people as well, they could have easily sent invitations to you both. Good for you for sticking to your guns. Yeah, I was like thinking, like, as I was reading that, like, okay, 130 people. Let's just say, let's give them the benefit of the doubt. 130 people capacity. I'm just like thinking that, let's just say, my sister and I, so you have a sister, and then there's you and then your parent. 4 people. 4 out of 130. It's so easy to squeeze in those 4 people. I don't think it's going to be that expensive if they're doing it by plate and not buffet. So really, I'm really not buying that excuse of like, we're max 130 people. I'm really not buying that excuse. Oh, this one is good. not the asshole. Sorry, but your dad lost the lottery when it came to decent sisters. The gall of asking you and your sister to the bachelorette party so you could help pay, right? And then inviting you to the wedding. And then they decide to issue you a very grudging invitation and blame you for causing family drama. You reap what you sow. They are inconsiderate, hurtful, and selfish. Somebody who just uses people and disguises it as like a family thing. But when it is their turn, they forget that part. But you get what I mean? Like, yeah, definitely not the asshole. And I haven't really seen anything that says you're the asshole, so that's good. We all agree that the cousin and the aunt are the assholes in the situation. So next up is, what's the question? Ooh, am I the asshole for only paying for my wife and I at a restaurant? I, 24 male, and my wife, 24 female, are newlywed couples. My wife has four friends who she has been recently close with since high school. For a celebration, my wife decided to go to an expensive steakhouse. The day comes and we go in separate cars there. We all eat and my wife slides the bill, 700, I'm going to assume dollars, $700 plus, and proceeds to say, the man should always pay for the wife and her friends. I laugh awkwardly, saying, why? She says, because I'm the man. I tell her that the only person I would pay for would be you and me. Her friends proceeded to laugh at me, calling me a broke husband. I stand up and put two $100 bills for me and my wife's food and leave. My wife gets home and starts screaming at me, saying I made her feel embarrassed, how she promised her friends I'd pay, and that her friends made fun of her on the ride home for marrying a man who can't pay the bill. I decided to pack a bag and head to my friend's house. I told my parents, friends, and they say I should have just paid it. Now I'm having second thoughts if I overreacted. Am I the asshole? So he's put like some edits here because obviously people on the comments were like having like follow-up questions. So I'm just going to read as well what those edits are. So the first edit will be like, hi guys, I've read someone comment if my wife has ever acted like this, and she never has. That's why I just laughed awkwardly. The only other time she did this was when I didn't buy her mom food, which happened when we first started dating. And it was the first time she ever screamed at me like that. Instead of escalating it, I just left. And when we do argue, it's not a screaming match. For how long we have dated, I've known her since freshman year of high school and got together junior year. Dated for 8+ years. I read some comments and decided to go to talk to her tomorrow about what happened, why she did that, etc. I do recognize that I didn't pay the full amount of me and my wife's dinner. I do take fault in that. I should have added another $50 to $75 to make it the price of two people. For the people who say I forgot to tip, I go there regularly with my coworkers, each pay for their own plate, and always leave a good tip. Now, my take on this one is that he is not the asshole. In this situation, it would be his wife and his friends who are the assholes. Like, seriously, let's just put this in any situation, whether you are married or not. If you plan of, okay, if I was the one who made, hold on. Let me just try to put this perfectly in a sentence. So we were the group of friends. We went out. Normally, obviously, if you're the one who said like, "Oh, let's all go," it's kind of like understandable that some of them may think that, yeah, I'm gonna be paying for it. But let's just highlight the first one on the first sentence or first paragraph here. Expensive steakhouse. Expensive. Right? And then the other one will be the man should always pay for the wife and her friends. I have never heard of anything like that before. The man should always pay for the wife and her friends. Like, I personally don't even think that it always has to be the man that has to pay for, like, when you're going out. It doesn't really necessarily have to be like, oh, you always have to like split the bill, because that's kind of like weird. But there can be a discussion between a couple if they are who's going to pay. Like, if you're married to a man like Elon Musk, okay, fine, it's understandable that they have to pay all the time. They're freaking rich, right? But if, like, on a normal person, on a normal couple, um I don't even know if are these people rich or no. I have no clue. But let's just say, like, they're regular people working day jobs, whatever, middle class. I think it's just understandable that um there are times that the wife will pay, the husband will pay. They just have to have that agreement. Now let's also proceed to the part that he was not informed prior to going to this expensive steakhouse that he's gonna be the one paying for it all. Okay, given that we're saying that they're newlywed couples and for a celebration, to, does that mean that they're celebrating them being newlywed? Maybe that's the reason why the wife thought that, oh, you have to pay for it because this is like a celebration of their wedding. Sorry, like, I thought I heard something weird, so I just had to like kind of like stop and listen. But anyways, going back. But still, regardless, if he is not aware, the wife could have told him prior. Because what if the guy doesn't have like $700 to like spend right away during that time? You should, the wife should have thought about the fact that you don't want to put your husband in a situation that's also going to embarrass him. See, she only thought about, oh, she is embarrassed because her friends were like making fun of her marrying a man who can't pay the bill. But did she even consider what her husband felt? Like like how her husband would have felt if he didn't have $700 to pay for this meal. She didn't. So personally speaking, if this happens and if this keeps happening, I don't think this relationship will last. If she's always going to put him in a situation that, like, in an awkward situation, and then if she's not going to defend him, like, with her friends, because I mean, I 100%, like, the friends are definitely going to be gossiping about the husband, with or without the wife around. And if she doesn't defend him, that's also a problem. But anyways, that's outside of this Am I the Asshole post. So yeah, going back, it would have, in this situation, he's not the asshole. It would have just been better if the wife told him prior to going to this restaurant, and then he could say, oh yeah, I really don't have $700 to dispose of right now. Maybe we can just like go somewhere else that's less expensive, that's not as expensive as this steakhouse or whatever. But she just like surprised him. So you can't really say, like, you can't argue or you can't blame him for reacting this way. That's just my opinion on this one. I don't think it's always the guy who has to pay. It depends on the agreement, or like, it doesn't have to be an agreement written in contract or whatever, but like, on your discussions with your significant other, you can alternate paying for meals. That's how I will do it. That's my opinion of it. Anyways, let's see what other people has to say. Let's see if somebody's going to disagree with me and agree with the fact that a man has to pay for his wife and his friend and her friends. Okay, not the asshole. Your wife should have talked to you about it before telling her friends you'd pay, not assume. Exactly. Um, dude, everyone in this scenario is an asshole except you. Wow. The audacity to just casually push over a $700 bill and then say, well, the man should always pay for his wife and her friends. It sounds to me like your wife doesn't want a spouse. She wants a sugar daddy who will treat her and her friends. And when you pushed back, she blew up in an attempt to manipulate the situation in her favor by playing on your emotions. You embarrassed me. Your family and friends must think that emotional and financial abuse, guilting you and trying to force you to pay for her and her friends with no prior warning is cool, huh? Get better friends and seek marriage counseling or a divorce if this is a frequent behavior. Not the asshole in the slightest. Not the asshole. Stay at your friends and tell your parents to F off. She married a human, not an ATM. I'd file, to be honest. Right away, hey, not even like giving it a chance or something. Um, Not the asshole. You need to educate your wife. I will bet money she thinks that what she earns is hers alone and what you earn she's entitled to. I feel like it's most likely that way. Did you spoil her when you were just like dating? I'm not. Super not the asshole. If she expects you to fork out an extra $400 to $500 for her friends, she should have asked ahead. This was an absolute gold digger move by her. Is this really who you intend to spend your whole life with? Moreover, how much would she have lost if you ask how much fun the one man or okay, I'm trying to be clean here. Let's skip that part. Um Somebody said, I am so proud of you. Not the asshole. Your wife should have asked you beforehand, and then she should have been aware. We weren't paying for her friend's meal. Her friends also sound awful, by the way. You aren't a walking ADM benefiting her circle of mean girls. Yes, exactly. Like I said, if the two of you talked about this prior and you agreed, and then suddenly during that time you said no, okay, like you probably are the asshole, but that's not the case. She didn't tell you. So now it backfired on her, and she really doesn't have any right to get mad at you. That's my opinion of this. Okay? Whoever you are, find a better woman, not a gold digger. Because that's what she seems like. That's all. Anyways, you have reached the middle of the podcast. And if you are still listening to this, thank you very much for listening. I hope you're enjoying our commentary and sharing of opinions here at the Zipporra Studios. Actually, you know what? I forgot to actually say my spiel normally, like, welcome to the Zipporra Studios, where I personally give you my unsolicited opinions and commentaries about things that I see on the internet. Yeah, I pretty much forgot that part. I just went straight away to the podcast part, but that's it. You heard it in the middle of the podcast, but hopefully in the future I will not forget it. Anyways, like I said, you have reached the middle of the podcast. Thank you so much for listening. And if you have enjoyed this, please subscribe and like. Please subscribe to my channel and like this video. Also, if you can comment, share this video, I will and podcast video, I will definitely appreciate it. Also, this podcast will be available in Spotify. I am still yet to post this in Apple Music and Amazon Music if possible, so watch out for that. Also, my other social media are all Zipporra Studios, the podcast. I also have other channels. If you want to see my creative content, it's at the Zipporra Studios. If you want to see me play some cozy games, it will be the Zipporra Studios, the game room. And yeah, that is all. And also, please click that notification bell so that you will be updated on the next time that I will upload the a podcast here at the channel. Anyways, going back, we have um am I the asshole for flying first class while the rest of my family is flying economy? I, male 38, and my wife 39, and my three kids are currently on vacation. Basically, I'm part of the loyalty club with the airline we were traveling with, and that means that there's lots of cool perks like a lounge, points, food, etc. I also rack up a lot of points, which is always a nice side. Given I don't want to dish out 10 grand on a flight ticket, we all are traveling economy. However, about 20 to 25 minutes before boarding began, they called my tier of the loyalty club. Turns out they have a couple vacant first class seats that they can upgrade loyalty to. It would cost $500. This is a pretty good deal given it's a long overnight flight. Luckily, I could also use some points, so I only paid about $150 for what is a massively better flight experience. They issued a ticket and everything. When I told my wife, she was very unhappy. She controlled it for the sake of being in an airport, but I could tell. She said it was very bad that I didn't ask her first, and it'd be too hard to manage three kids under 10 and one is an infant by herself. I went back to the desk to see if it could be changed back, and they said it's not possible. We've landed now, and my wife refuses to talk to me and says we need a serious discussion. If somebody tells me that this guy is not the asshole, I will definitely fight them. Okay, nobody? We all agree he's the asshole? Yes, because he is. Even without consideration of like your wife, whatever, blah, 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 if it's cheaper, whatever, you got three kids under 10. One is an infant, and you're just going to leave somebody, your wife, alone by herself to take care of the kids because you want to have a better flight experience. Something tells me that you don't really love your wife because you have prioritized your own comfort over hers. Because now, she was definitely not comfortable in that flight. Can you imagine? I myself, I don't have kids, but I have taken care of some of my nephews and nieces for a short while, not a long time, like probably like an hour, 2 hours. And it was hard. So imagine a long overnight flight, three kids in a plane where you really can't do anything besides stand up, sit down, stand up, sit down, stand up, sit down, and try to maintain like quietness because obviously you don't want to disturb other passengers. You left her alone for your own comfort. What type of person are you? If I was the wife, I'd be like, just like the other one. Okay, I don't really believe in, not that I don't believe, like, I don't really care for divorce or whatever. But in this case, that serious discussion should actually lead to that. Three kids. You left her. And my gosh, he was saying that out of like doesn't want to spend 10 grand, it would cost $500. Okay, number one, I haven't really tried first class, so I don't know how this works. So anybody tell me, could he have paid how much? Like they have three kids and a wife, and then him, so five. Could he have paid a total of 2,500 to upgrade all of them? Or actually, he just said couple vacant first seat. first class. So if it's not enough for them, then okay. But say, for example, if it's enough for the whole family, could he have paid $2,500 to upgrade all of them so that all of them can be in first class? Because if yes, and he didn't do that, again, what type of person are you? Like, this is family. Okay, compared to the other Am I the Asshole post, that one is like wife and friends. This one is your family, your kids, your wife. So if you need to shell out that much, you should shell out that much, because you should only not consider your own comfort, but your family's comfort. I want to talk to this guy and just like, not really talking, just like slap him in the face. But we are not going to be very violent in this channel, in this podcast. So I'm going to keep it to myself. But anyways, let's scroll down and see what other people has to say. You're the asshole. You abandoned your wife with 3 kids and one just a baby. Also, you could be more comfortable. You owe her, at the very least, an upgraded seat by herself on the trip home while you deal with the 3 kids and coach. What a selfish jerk. So somebody commented on that one. I would seriously consider divorce over this. Peak selfish, inconsiderate behavior. Should have discussed this with wife before purchasing the upgrade. Exactly. Oh, that one I missed. He didn't even discuss with the wife. He just decided, oh, I want to upgrade. Bye. As a couple, they could have decided whether the upgrade was too good to pass up or not worth splitting up the family, since someone had to mind the children at all times. It was still a salvageable situation even after the upgrade couldn't be undone. OP could have offered wife the first class seat as a gesture of goodwill to make up for his poor judgment, or split the flight time in half and take turns minding the children. I can't believe OP proceeded to sit in first class the entire overnight flight. Given that it sounds like you fly and enjoy perks often, why didn't you get the first class ticket for your wife rather than yourself? You had the opportunity to give her an amazing gift for a very good price, and obviously it would have been no problem for you to handle the kids by yourself back in economy. You're the asshole. God, I hope this post is fake. You're an absolute selfish nightmare of a person. Definitely the asshole. I feel strongly for this. He's definitely an asshole. Oh my god. Like, you're the asshole. Not only did you make your wife's flight worse, more work for her, you made it worse for every one of your children. Mommy, I need to pee. Okay, honey, you'll need to wait because I'm feeding the baby and the dad's not here like he was supposed to be. Mommy, this show isn't working. Can you fix my screen? Not right now. I'm helping your sibling go to the bathroom and dad's not here like he was supposed to be. Your poor kids, your poor wife, you paid money to contribute to their misery. Biggest asshole of all time. Did I say more? Like, do we need to like read all of this? Because everyone's like saying you're the asshole. Because he is. Fight me if you tell me that he's not. Anyways, proceeding to the final Am I the Asshole Reddit post that we're going to be reading in this podcast, in this episode. And that is this one. Am I the asshole for not giving my brother and his wife the gift I got them since she didn't want me at his birthday party? I, male 39, travel for work and make good money. I have never been interested in settling down or having a family. I mostly work and take vacations. I don't own an apartment, much less a house. I live out of a backpack and a duffel bag. My brother, Victor, 30, is the opposite. All he ever wanted since he was a kid was to have a perfect family. Our dad did the same kind of work that I do, and Victor hated it. He was always closer to our mom than our dad. He married the first girl he dated after college, and they already have 2 kids. they are happy. And I love my brother and my nephews. I spend a bunch of my extra money on them because I have more than I need and I want them to have a great life. My brother chose to be a teacher so he could spend more time with his wife and kids. I respect that, but he isn't well paid. Unfortunately, that's the truth for some of the teachers, right? His 30th birthday was coming up, and I decided to do something nice for his family. I checked with him when he and his wife had a free week this summer, and I got them a week away at Disney World. I also paid for my folks to go along so they could watch the kids and give him and his wife some alone time. Okay, so it's just for him and his wife, like the brother and the wife. His wife thinks I'm a scumbag because I refuse to get a girlfriend or have a serious relationship. I don't want that. I like meeting a woman at a resort or on a tour, spending a week together, and then saying goodbye. It works for me. They don't want anything more from me than I am willing to give. Because she thinks I'm a degenerate, womanizing, alcoholic, dirtbag, she doesn't want me around her husband or children. So she made sure I knew I wasn't invited to his birthday party at their house. I am seriously tired of her bullshit, so I canceled everything. I took my mom and dad on a golf vacation instead. I sent my brother a card with a $100 gift card to a restaurant he likes. My sister in law found out from my parents what his original gift was going to be and has been contacting me saying that I'm being a dick taking away an experience like that from her family over a party invitation. I told her that she was the one who decided I wasn't good enough to be around her family, so my dirty money wasn't going to be around her either. I told her not to bother me anymore. My folks are staying out of it, and my brother is as well. He knows I don't owe him shit and that I just like to blow money on stupid gifts. I'm not so sure until I read whatever people comment on this. I don't think he's the asshole. I personally don't think he is. First off, he mentioned here that he loves giving gifts to his nephews. So I don't think so I don't think he is selfish. He's actually generous. And yeah, to be able to gift your brother and his wife a week away at Disney World and even paid for the parents, like paid for everything to allow them to go on this trip. That's very generous. Whatever he does with his life, because we're not even talking anyways on his preference anyways, right? If he wants to just meet a woman for a week and then that's it, that's up to him. He's not really affecting anybody. So I don't think anyone has the right to judge him about that because that's not the topic of this Am I the Asshole post. So the fact that this woman, the sister-in-law, doesn't want him around the husband or the children and that didn't invite him to his birthday party at the house is kind of like an immature move. Like, you already know that he shows love, that he cares for his nephews regardless of his choices in life, and that he really cares for his brother and that wants him to experience things like Disney World and all that. But you made sure that he knew that he wasn't invited to the house and you don't want him around your husband or the children. So you really expect him to put up with that. And then now that you found out what he was supposed to be giving you, you're just like, oh my gosh, I should have. You're such a dick. You took away an experience like that because you just didn't get an invitation. Like, you're not even treating him as family. You shouldn't really feel bad about that. In this case, it's the sister in law that's the asshole. Don't ask me why. It's pretty much obvious. She is. Right? Like, it's a good thing though that the parents are staying out of it and the brother, because really, like I said, whatever his decisions in life are, like whatever his choices in life are, it's not really putting him at a risk of having a bad future. Like, you know what I mean? Like, okay, if he's a druggie, if he's such a big alcoholic, that he wouldn't be really a good influence to people around him, regardless of whether it's the husband or the nephews. Fine, I'll be like, okay, like if you can just like stay away from the kids. But let's just focus on the fact that he just mentioned one thing about like the serious relationship. And really, that's not something to judge a person about. I don't think so. But like I said, I'm not so sure about the comments below. So I'm really curious now. I really wanted to go and scroll down now. Let's see. Not the asshole, but sister in law definitely is. Oh, thank goodness I found somebody who agrees with me. If she doesn't want you because of your lifestyle, then she doesn't want your money to taint her perfection. It's good that family's staying out of it, but you may have to decide how much you're willing to tolerate long term to keep a relationship with your brother. Not the asshole. Important to note, you did not rescind a gift that had been provided. You simply elected to go in a different direction based on a feedback from your sister-in-law. Yeah, like they didn't really know that that's the gift, right? Because she just found out. So it's not like he made her expect. Like he just canceled it before even giving them that. So that's how I understood the post. She elected to bar you from your brother's party where such a gift would have been provided if you had attended. She's the only one angry and the only one who excluded you. She sowed, she reaped. Too bad for her. Heck, no other adult even cares. Gift was not revoked, wasn't even given. Not even disclosed after long after. Nobody can be mad for a gift never promised, not offered, and not given. Exactly. For anyone who's listening, I just fixed my ear. So I had to make that brief pause. Um, Not the asshole. She has no right to comment on how you choose to live your life. It's yours to live. She has no right to keep you away from your brother and nephews either. In a way, like, okay, she has kind of the right. She's the mom. But the thing is, the situation though is not sufficient enough for her to stop her, to keep them away from OP. You know what I mean? Like I said, if it's a really worse situation, then yeah, she has all the right to keep his son's innocence and all that. But the situation is not enough for, yeah, like his choices are not enough reason for her to do this. She is the asshole. She doesn't want you around, but wants you to spend on them. You're not the one robbing her of experiences. She's the one robbing you of your brother and nephews. And you took your parents? I love it so much. Dude, any person would be lucky to have you in their lives. Yes. Yes, exactly. Somebody as generous as that, you wouldn't be thankful to have that in your life? Not a lot of people have extra cash to blow on family, really. Not the asshole. She blew it. She knows she blew it and she wants to blame you instead of herself. You didn't hang it over her head. You didn't even tell her. You planned a present, then backtracked when you weren't even invited to the relevant event and found out from someone else. 100% in the clear. If you're generally close with your brother, then he's also an asshole. If he was aware she didn't invite you to the party and went along with it. Yeah, that's something that was skipped on this one, so I really can't comment on that part. Um, um, and the last comment that we're gonna be reading on this one is this one. Not the asshole, and honestly, I think that is a good thing. Your sister-in-law looks like a person who thinks that as a childless uncle, you should provide for your nieces or nephews. She showed her true colors now in mostly harmless situation. It would be much worse if something like this happened on a serious case with rest of your family heavily involved and children used as pawns. And this incident gives you an opportunity to set boundaries for future, and no one can blame you. Yeah, I mean, I guess you can still give gifts to your nephews and your brother, but you know what the perfect move is? You should treat your brother and your nephews to something like Disney World and exclude her. Yeah, that's a very immature move, but that's just my suggestion. Yeah, so good thing all of us agree that he's not the asshole, and it's actually the sister in law who is the asshole. That is actually perfect. Mm-hmm. Okay, so that was the fourth and like the last Am I the Asshole Reddit post that we are gonna be commenting tonight, today, wherever you are, wherever, whichever part of the world you are at right now. So yeah, I hope you actually have enjoyed listening again to this podcast. I know it's still a learning curve to be doing podcasts like this. As you have seen, and as I have mentioned, this is the second podcast. I just released the premiere episode last week. So for any comments, because we are a commentary and opinion sharing podcast channel, so I will definitely appreciate any constructive criticism, anything that you want to comment down below on this podcast. I also have like small clips that I share in my YouTube channel. Again, thank you so much for listening to this podcast, and I hope to see you on the next one next week. Goodbye now.